Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll be showing you how to replace your door lock actuators on your car or truck. This truck here is a 1990 Ford Bronco, and the door lock actuator on this side stopped working. Now sometimes you'll have a noise, sometimes it'll just completely stop working out of the blue, and most of the time it's going to be this here. This here is the door lock actuator. This is what powers your door lock to go up and down. And a lot of cars and trucks are going to be very similar to this, especially any Ford in this generation. In between 1980 to 1996 will be very, very similar. So let's hop right into it. Okay, now the first thing you're going to want to do is remove this door panel. And this particular door panel only has two screws. A screw here and a screw here. So let's get started on that. Okay, the first screw is located here in the armrest area. So let's just remove that. Now your car or truck might be a little different, so just feel around and find all the screws for your door panel and remove them. So the next step here is to actually pull out on the door panel. You'll feel that it's going to be pretty tight into place because it's going to be held by these plastic rivets here. Most likely yours are going to be very fragile and dried out since it's an older car. Most likely are going to snap, but don't worry, you can get these from any auto parts store. Just try to put light pressure while you're pulling out on your door panel and feel around for where it's tight and kind of just jiggle it loose, because you don't want to damage the door panel at all. You'd rather break the rivets than anything off the door panel itself. So just kind of jiggle it loose. Once you think all the rivets are off, the next step is to pry it up and remove it. Now sometimes it's tricky getting the handle out through the door panel, so it's going to take some finagling to do so. So pull up on the door panel as much as you can. Reach in, grab the handle, like that. Once you've got it off the handle, slowly ease it down like this. We need to disconnect some cables. So unplug any electricals you may have connecting to your door panel. On this truck, you could just unscrew these here. Pull them out. Now the door lock actuator is going to be located down here in this region. So we're going to need to access it through the door skin here. I'll have this bracket here I'm going to remove. Now I installed some Dynamat recently, so I covered up this area here. You're most likely going to have either like a plastic clear sheet that you'll just peel off and get out of the way. Maybe even the plastic sheet is missing because it's so old and it's been worked on before. So for me, I'm just going to cut through here a little bit, and then I'll just repair my Dynamat later. See, you have a hole back here. And you're going to be working through here to get to your actuator. So you can see that's it right there, the little gold thing. This window slide is actually kind of in the way, so I'm going to loosen that. I'll show you how to do that, and we'll just move it out of the way. And removing the actuator is quite a simple process, and we're going to get started on that right now. So now with this slide here loosened, we can gain access to the actuator rod, which you can see comes all the way up here into the door latch up here. Now we're not going to get to that just yet. We're going to take off the actuator first. And you can see here, this is a common problem why these fail. There's supposed to be a boot covering this top part here, which is deteriorated, and some of it's even on the floor. You can see it there on the floor. So once that boot gets deteriorated, water drizzles down into the motor of the actuator and it can just seize it right up. So let's go ahead and remove that actuator. Now your actuator is on the other side of the skin here. This is on the outside. Ford likes to rivet the actuators into place. So I'm going to have to drill out this rivet with my drill. Now this doesn't really take too long. I'm using a 5/16 inch drill bit. You can use a 1/4 inch, whatever works for you. Careful, you don't want to drill through the actual door. This one got a little sloppy on me. I usually go right through them. Drill bit danced on me a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Let's pop that in. To get the rod to come out of this top part, just got to pick up the motor from the bottom, pick it up this way, like this, and then slide out the rod. So I'll show you here. So pick it up in this fashion, like that, straight up. See if I can get the angle here for you. See how the rod is connected in there? So when you pick it up, you have to slide it out over this hump here, and then slide it out just like that. See how it is? It's kind of angled. You gotta slide it out, and then as you're picking up, pull it out to follow that angle there. So you see here, I've got the actuator out. You can tell here, this is the boot I was talking about. It's just completely tethered. All that's left here is to unplug the electrical and replace it with the new one. Unplug the electrical. Alright guys, so this is where it's going to get a little tricky now. I don't have the correct size rivet for this, and most likely you're not going to either. It's a pretty hard rivet to find. I've only found it online. I'll put a picture and a link to where you can get that rivet. The local hardware stores aren't going to have it. I don't even have the size rivet gun that's going to be required for this. And again, only place that had it but was sold out was Harbor Freight, and they actually only had the pneumatic riveter gun, which is going to be ideal anyways. You're going to try to hold this in place with one hand and rivet it with the other hand. You're going to want something you can use with one hand versus the big style riveter that's like this. In that case, you know, I really couldn't find anything locally, and I didn't want to order anything online. So I figured out a different fix here. I'm going to be using a screw, a washer, and a nut. And I recommend getting all stainless hardware like these. So I'll show you how to put that on to this actuator here. Very simple. This actuator just pries off this housing. Let's give it some force there. And the actuator comes right out of the housing like that. I'll just put a little dab of glue right here where the screw is going to hold. That way it kind of holds the screw into place while I try to screw on the nut and when I'm trying to insert it into the door. So just like that, give it a few seconds to dry. You can actually put your actuator back on. So there you have, that's the assembly here that I've got going on. Plug in your actuator. Alright, so I've got the rod here. So I insert it that way. And then you just kind of little wiggle into place by letting it go down. And it should hang. Just like that. And then from here you just basically turn the actuator. So then the bolt faces out like that. And then you'll feel for the hole. We'll go to the other side, and then we'll just basically move it up and down until the screw goes through the hole. Alright, we almost got it. Here's the screw. There's the screw right there. Put your washer on and your nut. And then just tighten it down. The door doesn't have any problems closing, I'll show you that. That's about as tight as I want it. And it seems pretty solid. Let's try it out. Reinstall the window guide. Install your switches. Alright, now we're going to install the door handle through the panel here. Like that. Now it could definitely take some finagling to get into place, and what you're really going to want to pay attention to before you fully clamp it down are the rivets here. You're going to have a couple here, a couple down here, and a couple on the sides. Make sure they're lined up before you push the door panel in, especially if you're going to reuse your old clips. If you got new ones still, they could still snap, so I'll show you what I mean by this right now. So you can see here, there's a clip in there. There's one there, and then there's one right there. So what you want to do is you really want to feel around, make sure that clip is in its hole before you press it in. See, now that one's lined up. and do the same for all of them. Okay, so then just press it all in. Just like that. And you'll feel it when it all clamps in. That's nice. Put your screws back in. Alright guys, we're all done. That wasn't so bad, was it? Let's give it a shot here. Let's see if it works. Alright, nice and solid too. Strong. Well, if this video helped you guys, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.